Hi, this is Dave Klain, Research Director at ARC Advisory Group. Today I'll be discussing the top trends ARC is seeing in the operational historian and data platform markets with Janice Abel, Principal Consultant at ARC and primary author of ARC's recently published Operational Historian Industrial Data Platform Report. The trends we will be discussing all come from the research we are doing on the global markets for our market analysis report and from the end user research we're doing for the supplier selection guide. Thanks for joining me today, Janice. For the audience's benefit, could you tell us a bit about your background covering the operational historian and industrial data platform markets for ARC, and a little about ARC for those not familiar with us?
Thank you, David, and thank you to our audience for joining us today. My name is Janice Abel, and I've been an analyst for ARC for over a decade. Prior to this, I spent over 25 years in the industrial process and hybrid industries. At ARC, I'm the lead analyst for operational historians or industrial data platforms and the manufacturing execution system space, as well as the batch management software. I've also been focused on related markets, including analytics and the digital transformation, as well as other markets. At ARC, we're always uncovering new and interesting innovations in industrial markets around the people, processes, and technologies. While operational historians have been around for a while, the modern operational historian, or industrial data platform, is evolving with the technology and enabling the data-driven digital transformation in industry that we're seeing. And there's a number of reasons for this, which we'll discuss in a minute. First, I'd like to give everyone a little background on ARC, especially for those folks not familiar with us. ARC Advisory Group is an analyst firm that has been around for over 3 decades, and we've been collecting and researching industrial markets, and we have data and trends to support this. We have also expanded into supply chains and smart cities and most of the key technologies in these markets. Today's discussion is focused on our recent market research in the modern operational historian markets, which can also be referred to as the industrial data platform. The research is based on information from a study or report that we recently completed.
Thanks, Janice. Maybe we should start by helping the audience understand how ARC defines the operational historian and data platform markets. But before we do that, a lot of folks ask, how do we get started? While some companies are data-centric, others are just formulating strategies for data, so we see all different kinds of users in different steps of their digital transformation journey when it comes to data. And when getting started, it's important to have a business, IT, and OT strategy, and it's important to look for gaps and solve problems. And most people have told us starting small and solving a problem that brings measurable business value is always helpful.
ARC defines operational historians, industrial data platforms, as the applications and data storage and data management software for operations in the plant floor that allows for the aggregation, collection, management, and analysis of data. The operational historian securely stores industrial time-stamped process data efficiently to make actionable process decisions, whether it's for quality or production cost, safety, for example. The historian stores large volumes of real-time data reliably and securely. The software enables the ability to store multiple data samples from manufacturing operations in a way that enables high fidelity and fast data. Often it can be in milliseconds or less than a second, or maybe as much as long as 10 minutes, depending upon the process or the application. And the historian models the assets, like information from a pump or sensor, or machine or robotic. You need to have common, consistent data models, and these are commonly used to run a process and integrate and contextualize the data. And the historian includes and supports the data infrastructure, the data collection, the integration, the trending of the data, the reporting of the data, the analytics, the visualization of dashboards, and the digital displays that we're seeing more and more of today that operators use for intelligence at a glance. It also supports the algorithms and the ability to compress the data and other data management tools that help make the data accessible, searchable, available, and fast enough for most processes. The operational historian is mostly used to store real-time structured data from the automation systems and other equipment and data sources, unless it's combined with unstructured data or other types of data possibly from the business processes or from cameras or videos. Today we're seeing weather data and other maybe even commodity data that's used in the operations or on the factory floor. So users use the information from the operational historian to help optimize their processes, reduce costs, and produce efficiently.
We've seen a lot of trends from users over the year when looking at operational historians. Could you talk about some of the trends ARC is seeing in the industry and what users should look for when selecting an operational historian?
So I'd like to talk about the trends we're seeing. But before we do that, I'd like to mention that in addition to our operational historian supplier research, ARC also has a supplier selection report, a process and services that users do find very helpful. And I'd also like to mention that while some companies are data-centric today, we found that others are just starting to formulate strategies around their data, and most people are somewhere in between, especially for the enterprise. So we're seeing all different kinds of folks in different steps of their digital transformation journey when it comes to data. So when getting started, it's really important to have a business, IT, and OT strategy, and it's also important to look for the gaps and to solve problems that you're having. And most people told us that starting small and solving a problem that brings measurable business value is very important. In 2020 and even into 2021, the pandemic really changed the world, and it accelerated the digital transformation. It was really about empowering the remote connected worker, and that's what I saw a lot of. This included the use of cameras, videos, monitors, and dashboards to see what was going on in the process. We also saw wearables like helmets that enabled hands-free or wristwatches that triggered security, and remote connected workers everywhere we went, whether people were working in the plant or working from home. And guess what? It was all about empowering workers, and empowered workers need data. And it's all about the data and how you make better and faster decisions and how you see the data. And the number one trend really was the remote connected worker. While the market is still much smaller than on-premise data historians, ARC has seen a substantial movement of the data within the historians or the data platforms to other platforms like cloud or edge devices, and even data lakes. And where the data is stored and how it is stored varies from industry to industry, from applications, from company sites, plants, etc. But I will say that some companies are putting newer platforms and standards in place across the enterprise today. And most of the data that is being moved directly into the cloud is either historical data, maybe it doesn't need to be available right away, latency is not a problem, or it's not for critical applications. And so most of the critical applications today are still on premise. And so examples that I've seen are vibrational and acoustic data that's used for maintenance, and in some cases robotic data and video data, and for others it's the planning or scheduling data, and in some cases the historical data that's being put in the cloud. So number 3, ARC is seeing plant, site, and enterprise historians. We're also seeing data historians at the edge, and these are being integrated with plant historians or being deployed directly to the cloud. And the enterprise historians can enable comparisons from plant to plant, site to site, and also throughout the enterprise with advanced analytics that have also helped to accelerate the value that end users are able to derive from connecting the data across the enterprise. We're also seeing more edge data stores where edge is being used to collect data from remote assets or devices. It's also being used to collect data from cameras, videos, and other unstructured types of data. And the data from the edge can be stored on-premise or in the plant historian or added directly to the historian in the cloud. So as part of the same trend, and just to emphasize the point, because ARC is seeing more enterprise historians, and the reason is because of the acceptance of cloud for industrial data, but we're also seeing historians that are on-premise and also on the edge. The ability to have consistent aggregated data is necessary to make sense out of data for companies to move towards autonomous manufacturing or operations, which is really the future. So having an enterprise historian that is able to integrate IT and OT data that embeds analytics, including AI and other applications, helps users manage and gain insights into the data. And this also enables workers to have the visibility around the globe in a way that allows them to exchange information, collaborate, and make more data-driven decisions. And by having consistent data across the enterprise, you enable the workers to collaborate and optimize processes. Another trend we're seeing is the newer architectures. And these include these low-code, no-code, secure platforms that allow users to customize applications very quickly. Some of the capabilities include the ability to drag and drop the functionality for configuration, more interfaces for connectability, and improved objects, modeling, or templates. And also it's easy and simple to implement APIs and SDKs and connectors, all of which ultimately saves time, and it also reduces the time for training. So we're also hearing about one-click deployment that automatically tracks changes, and that also saves time and enables less experienced workers to have the ability to customize the software. So really this trend is about new platforms and architectures that are becoming much more secure than ever, all of which are important features for operational historians. So along with new platforms, ARC is also seeing the deployment of microservices architecture with containers. And using containers such as Dockers allows you to separate those applications from the underlying infrastructure. And gaining that separation requires new tools and to get the most value out of those containers. And one of the popular tools for this, or for container management and orchestration, is Kubernetes. And Kubernetes allows you to deploy and manage the containers at scale. So number 6 is analytics. And when it comes down to it, it really is all about the data. There are lots of challenges when it comes to data and operational historians and analytics, and the digital transformation is all about the data and the analytics and how you understand the data so that you can make actionable decisions quickly. Companies need fast, accessible, and searchable data, and it's all about getting that data quickly, connecting to multiple data sources and making sure it's good, quality, and valid data. And if not, adding a new sensor or instrument, for example, to get the data needed. Newer technologies like data platforms have better management tools today and they also have embedded analytics in some cases that enable searchability and the ability to either learn from the data or find patterns and correlations in the data so that manufacturers can obtain insights quickly. It's no longer acceptable today to be chained to mountains of data without a clear, simple, and effective way to derive value from it. No more data silos, and you shouldn't have to be a data scientist or a PhD to get the data value. The technology should be easy to use and help you find the information you need, whether you are the subject matter expert, an engineer, the operator, or the manager. But even when you do find the correlations in the data, you still need to work with the SMEs to understand the correlations. So self-service analytics help, but it's about the people who know and understand the process. So along with low-code, no-code platforms, we're also seeing a lot of auto or automatic functions because operational historians and data platforms are integrating new tools that are leading to more autonomous data management and operations. So incidentally, these trends are not necessarily in the order of importance, and we also cover a lot more trends in the report. But the 8th trend I chose for this presentation, because it's very important, especially this past year with the pandemic, is the visualization in the dashboards. And the digital dashboards were especially important after the pandemic for the remote connected worker. And they're becoming much simpler and easy to understand. They integrate augmented reality, virtual reality, videos, cameras, and other digital technologies. And we are seeing them being used much more efficiently now more than ever. So just to summarize, these trends, which are shown here, are just a few of the top trends that ARC has been seeing over the past year. And there are many, many more trends, many features to consider, and many challenges when selecting and developing an operational historian. And ARC Advisor Group has done a lot of research in this area and in the industrial data platform markets, the operational historian markets, that we can share with you if you'd like to learn more. So, how can ARC help you, and what kind of information does ARC offer that can help you? So ARC can help you get started on the digital transformation journey for your operational historian or data platforms, and we can help you along that journey in terms of the technology, people, and processes. And we have a lot of information. We also offer services that can help you. And ARC has a lot of in-depth understanding and expertise about the market, the suppliers, where it's heading, and supplier capabilities. We have lots of different types of data depending upon your needs, like growth rate data and trend data. We include both process and discrete industries in this study. And the research includes industries such as the oil and gas industry, chemicals, pharmaceutical and biotechnology industries, food and beverage, electric power generation, mining and metals, pulp and paper, automotive, aeronautics, electronics, household goods, semiconductor, and a few other industries that are differentiated by the leading suppliers and regions. We also have charts by opportunity, charts by deployment, and various other attributes like types of information, supplier service revenues, deployment types, customer tiers, sales channels, and more. We can use ARC's data to help you understand the market, the technology, and suppliers in your industry. And we can include the data with our market research, and we have tools that will also allow you to analyze the data even further. We also have a supplier selection report and criteria charts, and a tool that reviews functionality and can help your team make user supplier selection, and also to assess the selection process faster and smoother. And the tool is designed as a collaborative tool that can improve the entire technology selection process. So thank you for your time today. The digital transformation is all about the data and what you do with it. And so now I'd like to return back to David.
Thanks for sharing some of the trends with us today, Janice. This concludes our presentation on the Operational Historian Data Platforms market. Audience members who would like more information or have any questions about our research should get in touch with a client manager here at ARC or contact the author directly at jabel, that's Jabel, at arcweb.com, or myself at dclayton@arcweb.com. The video and audio of this discussion is available on ARC's YouTube channel. Thanks for your attention and have a great day. Please feel free to contact us if you have any questions or are looking for more in-depth analysis of these markets.